Trippy track songs. Woo!
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep into Cheater today.
Oh yeah, the latest track from Trippy track.
You got it, and we've got a lot to unpack here. The lyrics themselves, a storyboard for the music video.
And it is AI generated, by the way.
Right, exactly, which we'll get into for sure.
Sure.
And some background on Trippy track themselves.
It's going to be an experience, not just a song.
I love that, yeah. Like a whole world built around just this one track. Now, if you haven't heard of Trippy track before, they're really known for this atmospheric, kind of introspective sound.
Definitely one to watch in the indie electronic scene, I'd say.
For sure, for sure. And what's interesting is that they're creating these AI music videos completely independently.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It makes you think, what can we learn about like relationships or insecurity, even the creative process itself, just by diving into all this?
Absolutely.
So should we start with like the story that the song tells?
Yeah, let's do that. The storyboard actually lays it out like a mini film. You see this woman, she's grappling with her desires, sneaking out, seeking validation.
Okay, so we're talking about a real emotional journey here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Not just like a catchy tune.
Not at all.
But one thing that really stood out to me in the lyrics was this like feasting metaphor.
Yeah.
Feast on brand new meat.
Yeah.
To describe cheating, that's pretty striking imagery, isn't it?
It is. Makes you think about what kind of hunger she's trying to satisfy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it purely physical?
Right.
Or is there something like deeper driving her?
Like an emotional need,
Yeah.
possibly.
And there's a lot of talk about like insecurity in the lyrics and how love doesn't necessarily equal security.
Right.
Could this whole like feasting thing be like her trying to fill some void within herself?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at, infidelity from a psychological perspective,
Yeah.
it's often not just about the physical act, but about trying to get something that's missing, like within the person themselves.
So maybe she's like looking for that validation outside the relationship because she doesn't feel it inside.
Possibly. Yeah.
And does that point to like a bigger anxiety that people feel in like modern relationships?
Like, are we ever enough?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are we ever enough for our partners? Is that something that like resonates with people?
It does. It
Yeah.
does with a lot of people.
And the interesting thing is the song doesn't really give us any easy answers.
Right.
It just kind of lays it out there, right?
It portrays this character who's wrestling with these feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes her relatable.
Which makes me think, is this just like a personal struggle? Or is there something about our culture that's like feeding this feeling,
Interesting.
this need for more,
Yeah.
like never being satisfied?
We're always hearing about like fear of missing out,
Right.
this pressure to constantly seek new experiences. Maybe that plays a role too.
It really makes you wonder if, like, Trippy Trek is commenting on something bigger than just this one relationship.
Yeah.
But let's maybe zoom back in on the character.
Yeah.
And specifically those, like, conflicting emotions she's going through.
Yeah.
The bridge of the song is really where things get interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
We get that "sorry for the way I made you feel" line. But then it's immediately followed by, "for me, it's the only way to feel real."
It's like she's justifying it,
Yeah.
but at the same time admitting that there's something off about it.
What do you make of that?
It points to like a disconnect between her emotional needs and how she's meeting them.
Okay.
Like she's trapped in this cycle
Yeah.
that she knows isn't healthy.
And then there's that line, "maybe tomorrow we can get some help."
Ooh.
What is that?
Yeah. Is that genuine?
Is that her wanting to change, or is that just another way to, like, avoid taking responsibility?
Right. That's where it gets really ambiguous. And I think that's part of what makes this song so powerful, It leaves it open to interpretation.
So it makes you think, like, can someone who cheats repeatedly, can they really change?
It's not easy.
Is it even possible?
Well, it takes a lot of self-awareness, confronting some uncomfortable truths,
Right.
and a willingness to do the work to
Yeah.
build those healthier patterns.
Makes you wonder about, like, the root of her insecurity.
Yeah.
Is it something, like, just within this relationship? Or does it come from somewhere else,
Past experiences.
Past experiences, maybe even, like, societal pressures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to explore that further.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research on attachment styles.
Right.
And how our early experiences can really shape our relationships later in life.
Yeah.
Maybe that could shed some light on what's going on here.
Okay, so we've got this really complex emotional landscape happening.
Yes.
But we also have to talk about the AI-generated visual. The storyboard is packed with details, like shadows, these dimly lit rooms, flashes of neon lights.
It's the mood.
What kind of, mood do you think they're trying to create?
To me, they enhance that feeling of secrecy and internal conflict that's in the lyrics.
Okay.
Imagine those shadows obscuring her face,
Yeah.
representing the parts of herself that she's hiding.
And she's moving through this world unseen in these dimly lit rooms.
It's just heckling.
And then those flashes of neon, cutting through the darkness.
Yes.
They're almost symbolic, of the fleeting nature of her encounters.
Yeah, like flashes of excitement that quickly fade.
It's not just about, what she's doing. It's about the whole atmosphere surrounding it that the visuals bring to life.
For sure.
Speaking of bringing things to life, let's talk about the artist behind all of this.
Okay.
We know Trippy Trek is independent, and they're doing both the music and the videos. What do you think that says about their creative vision?
Well, first of all, I think it shows they're an innovator. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible in music.
Right.
And they're doing it independently.
Yeah.
Which is even more impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests a level of control and a personal connection to the themes
Okay.
that you don't always see with artists who are signed to major labels.
So this, independent spirit allows them to explore these, raw, complex emotions in a way that feels really authentic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it raises the question, what other insights can we gain by, digging deeper into their process and their choices?
That's what we're here to do.
Exactly.
So stay with us as we continue this deep dive into Cheater and the world that Trippy Trek has created around it. So we were just talking about how being independent might, affect Trippy Trek's creative choices.
Right.
And it makes me wonder what they're trying to say with this song. You know?
Yeah.
Is there a bigger message here?
There might be.
Oh.
That line in the bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe I love you, sure, but that doesn't mean I'm going to feel secure. That really stood out to me.
Yeah.
It speaks to the complexity of love.
Right.
And how just because you love someone, it doesn't mean that all your insecurities just disappear.
You can still have those doubts.
Absolutely.
Even if you are in a loving relationship.
Yeah, and you might seek validation in other places.
Right. Exactly.
That.
And it makes me think about that, feasting metaphor again.
Yeah.
Maybe that brand new meat represents, a temporary fix.
Right. Just a way to feel desired, wanted.
Yeah.
When those feelings are lacking in the relationship.
Okay, so it's not that she doesn't love her partner.
Right.
It's more that she doesn't feel secure within herself.
Yeah, possibly.
And then we got to think about those societal pressures again, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That constant message that we need more, we need to be more, we need to do more.
Especially with social media.
Yeah, you're constantly seeing these curated versions of people.
Yeah, and it's easy to feel like you're not enough.
So then you end up, looking for validation in unhealthy ways, kind of like the character in the song.
Absolutely.
It's this cycle of trying to fill a void, but you can't really fill it externally. You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
So let's go back to attachment styles for a second.
Okay.
How those early experiences with caregivers
Right.
can actually shape our relationships
They really do.
later on in life, yeah.
For example, someone with an anxious attachment style, they might be more likely to seek out reassurance and validation.
Okay.
Whereas someone with an avoidant attachment style,
Yeah.
they might have a hard time with intimacy and emotional closeness.
So depending on this character's attachment style, this whole thing could stem from, a fear of abandonment or, just difficulty trusting her partner's love.
Yeah, it adds a whole other layer to her motivations.
It does.
It makes you think about the psychology behind it all.
It really does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this emotional landscape.
Yeah.
We've got societal pressures. And now let's talk about how this all comes to life visually. We've got this storyboard, and it's full of details.
It is.
It's got shadows, dimly lit rooms,
Yeah.
flashes of neon lights.
It creates a really specific atmosphere.
Yeah, and they really do, enhance the emotional impact.
Yeah.
Remember those shadows? It's they're not just random elements. They're really there to, emphasize that feeling of secrecy.
Right, the hidden desires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those dimly lit rooms create a sense of intimacy,
But also isolation.
Yeah, it's like she's in this private world.
Yeah, where she can indulge in these desires.
Yeah, without being fully seen.
Yeah.
And then there are those, like, flashes of neon.
Oh, yeah.
They're so jarring against that darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they really do represent those, like, fleeting moments.
The excitement.
Yeah, like she's seeking pleasure,
Yeah.
but it's temporary.
Yeah.
It's like they're highlighting the fact that those encounters can't really satisfy her.
Right, that deeper longing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's mirrored in the music itself.
Oh, yeah.
The music has these, like, soaring melodies.
Yeah, but then they're undercut by these darker sounds.
Exactly.
Like more dissonant.
Yeah, and it's like the music and visuals are working together
Yeah.
to create this, like, push and pull between desire and regret,
Yeah.
pleasure and emptiness.
And who better to orchestrate that than an independent artist?
Right, exactly.
Like Trippy Trek having that creative control.
Allows them to, like, really weave those elements together seamlessly.
Yeah, it's something that, like, a big budget production might miss.
It really is.
It just speaks to the power of independent artists, you know, to
Yeah.
push those boundaries and experiment with new ways of storytelling.
And then on top of that, they're incorporating AI.
Right.
We've talked about how those visuals enhance the story. But let's talk a little bit more about the technology itself. What is it about using AI in music video production that you find fascinating?
Well, on a technical level, it's
Yeah.
just like mind-blowing how these algorithms can take musical ideas
Yeah.
and turn them into images.
It is pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is.
But what I find really interesting is, like, how it has the potential to democratize the creative process.
Democratize. Yeah, what do you mean by that? Well, think about it. Like, traditionally, to create a high-quality music video,
Yeah.
you needed expensive equipment, specialized skills, and a big budget.
Right.
But AI is starting to change that.
So it's making it more accessible.
Exactly. So now artists like Trippy Trek
Yeah.
can create these amazing visuals without, like, breaking the bank.
Which is really cool because then you get this, like, explosion of creativity because more artists have access to these tools.
Right.
But it also makes you think about the future.
Of music.
Yeah, like if AI can do the visuals, can write melodies, even write entire songs.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the human artist?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
Some people are worried that AI will, like, replace human creativity,
Yeah.
but I think it's more nuanced than that.
So,
I see AI as a tool, a
Yeah.
collaborator, even
Yeah.
to help artists explore new ideas.
so it's not AI versus humans.
Right.
It's more like, how can we use AI to actually enhance human creativity?
Exactly.
And I think Trippy Trek is a good example of that.
Yeah.
They're using AI intentionally with purpose, not as, like, a gimmick,
Right.
but as a way to deepen that emotional impact
Yeah.
of their part.
Of their art, for sure.
Okay, so we've got complex emotions, societal commentary, cutting-edge technology,
We do?
a whole lot of artistic vision.
Yeah.
What else can we unpack here?
Well, maybe we should take a step back
Okay.
and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Like, what does this song and Trippy Trek's approach
Yeah.
tell us about music and storytelling right now?
It seems like boundaries are being pushed. They are?
Both in terms of, like, the content
Yeah.
and how those stories are being told.
Yeah.
And it's all happening outside the traditional music industry.
Independent artists are leading the way,
They are.
experimenting with new technologies, pushing those limits.
It's exciting.
It is.
But let's bring it back to the present for a second.
Okay.
What's, like, really sticking with you from our discussion so far?
You know, what I keep coming back to is that line about love not guaranteeing security.
Yeah,
It's such a simple statement,
it is.
but it has so much weight to it.
Yeah.
It speaks to that universal experience of wanting connection, belonging,
Yeah.
and how those desires can sometimes lead us down these, really complicated paths.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, it really does make you think about, like, if they're exploring these themes, are they trying to, like, spark a conversation
Oh, absolutely.
about relationships in the modern world?
I think so.
Like, they're not giving us easy answers,
They're just presenting this, like, really complex scenario.
and a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and it makes us think about, like, our own experiences with love and insecurity.
On the challenges of relationships.
Yeah, especially, like, in a culture that's all about instant gratification.
Yeah, fleeting connections.
Right, like, maybe they're holding up a mirror to society
Oh, interesting.
and saying, like, hey, look at how our values and behaviors might be contributing to this. like emptiness
Yeah,
that the character's feeling.
that's a good point.
And then by using AI to create these visuals,
Yeah.
it's like they're pulling us even deeper into that reflection.
It's immersive.
It's not just a song anymore. It's an experience
For sure.
that forces us to confront these truths.
About ourselves, about our culture.
Yeah, it's like they're using AI to bridge this gap.
Between the personal and the societal.
Yeah, you start with this like intimate story about a relationship, but then it expands outward.
To these bigger questions about love, connection, meaning.
It's amazing how they do that.
It is, it is.
Speaking of like the world around us, we've
Yeah.
talked about how AI is changing music and storytelling.
Right.
But I'm curious, like, what are some other applications of AI that you find like exciting or even like a little bit unsettling?
Well, what I find both exciting and unsettling is how AI is blurring the lines between like reality and simulation.
Okay.
Think about it. There are AI programs that can create images and videos that look completely real.
Wow.
Imagine what that means for things like film, gaming, even VR.
It's like we're living in a sci-fi movie.
It is.
But then it makes you think about the ethical implications.
The ethics.
But how do we make sure it's used responsibly?
Right.
And that it doesn't lead to misinformation or manipulation?
That's a big challenge. But
It's-
as AI gets more and more sophisticated,
Yeah.
we need to develop those ethical frameworks.
Right.
We need guidelines.
To make sure that like human values are still a priority.
Absolutely.
It's like we're at this crossroads and we get to choose which path to take.
Do we use AI to create a better world?
Yeah.
Or do we risk, like, making things worse?
These are big questions.
They are?
And there are no easy answers.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to have these conversations. To
Absolutely.
think critically about this stuff.
And I think art can play a role in that.
Really.
Yeah, think about Cheater.
Right.
How it uses music and those AI visuals to explore these really complex themes.
Right.
Art can give us a safe space to process difficult emotions,
Yeah.
to challenge norms, to imagine different ways of being.
So it's not just entertainment then.
No.
It's about using art to start these conversations.
To inspire dialogue?
Yeah.
Maybe even, like, social change.
That's really cool.
And with AI, we have even more creative possibilities. It could completely change how we experience and interact with art.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like the one thought you want to leave people with?
I would say embrace curiosity.
Oh, I like that.
We're living in a time of so much change. Don't be afraid to explore new ideas.
Yeah.
Challenge assumptions, engage with the world.
Yeah. With an open mind.
With a critical eye.
I love that. That's great advice.
And on that note, I hope everyone checks out more of Trippy Trek's work
Yeah, definitely.
and sees how AI is shaping the future of music.
It's a journey worth taking.
For sure.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration of Cheater,
It's been a pleasure.
AI, and the future of creativity.
Absolutely.
And remember, stay curious, keep exploring,
Yeah.
and be open to new possibilities.
Always.
Until next time.
That was a deep dive in a Trippy Trek song.